What's going on, fellas? It's your man, point guard, aka Stephen Bardo, back at you. Hope you guys doing well. This is the first part of an 8-part series that I'm very excited about, the Sovereign Indigenous Man. And today we're going to talk about who you really are, Black men, and your hidden heritage. I think that's really important. Guys, I'm a point guard, championship leader, and sovereign Black man. If you follow me, you've heard me mention me being a sovereign Black man many times, and that's a key component to what we believe here in Next Chapter Forward. Okay. Um, for those of you that don't know, I'm a former NBA point guard and played professionally for 10 seasons. I had some coffee breaks, short time in the NBA with Dallas, Detroit, and San Antonio. And I have been a former college basketball and NBA television commentator for the last 25 years. And now I'm living in Playa del Carmen. Okay. So, guys, my passion is helping Black men over 50 in the United States seek greener opportunities abroad. That's what I'm really passionate about. Okay. And I'm really excited to do this 8-part series because it's so important. So let's kick it off. You know, I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I was a shorty, when I was little, I would hear my mom, I'd hear my grandmother talk about some of our Native American heritage and our background. And I didn't really believe it at the time. I just heard it and kind of chopped it up to, oh, okay, that's what they're talking about. Do I really believe that? I don't know. I was a kid, but I remembered it, right? And they would talk about how my dad's 2 nicknames are Sunny and Red because he's much redder than I am, but I've even got a red tinge on my skin, similar to him. But I'm much darker. And so, I would hear these things and all that, and I didn't think much of it. And I'd hear other people talking about the fact that, we're indigenous to the land, or that, we are the original Indians. And I thought, I don't know if I really believe that until guys, this book, 103 Facts About Indians in the Western Hemisphere, is an eye opener. Let me show you the book cover of it. This is the book cover. 103 amazing facts about the Black Indian of the Western Hemisphere, right? Have you guys heard this? Had you heard anything about this book? I know I hadn't. And, I try to be as well-versed and educated as I possibly can, but it was something that I did not understand. I didn't know, right? I didn't know anything about this book, but it's a game changer. It's an eye-opener. It's not very long, but you saw the cover of it. And guys, these weren't just stories. This is hidden history, erase history, right? And there's a reason for that. Why would they erase our indigenous history, right? Why do we struggle to get reparations when every other group that's been wronged by the United States government receives reparations except for us? And we've been wronged more than anybody, like 10 to 100 to 1,000 times over. Why is that? Well, because your classification as an African American or a Black man serves a purpose, but it's not for our purpose, right? It's to cut you off from your connection to your history and the land, right? I know this might be controversial for some, but hear me out, okay? Just hear me out, all right? The programming that we've been given does not make us feel like the United States is our land, right? It doesn't feel like that. You're a guest. You were brought here in chains. You were a slave. You were brought here on a transatlantic slave trade, and so you're made to feel like you're foreigners, really in your own land. And as you can imagine, what that does in terms of the psyche and mindset of a lot of Black Americans, right? Here's the thing, guys. If you knew you were indigenous to the land, would you have to ask permission for anything? Would you be, walking around on eggshells, right? You don't have to ask for permission. These are your lands. What's now called Canada, the United States, Mexico, Central America, South America, all the Western Hemisphere, these are your lands. Your ancestors moved freely hundreds, thousands of years ago, before these colonial things were, they were created. They're man-made. All these borders and whatnot, they have nothing to do with our experience in these ancestral lands, right? So you might be asking, what does this have to do with relocating and helping Black men relocate outside the United States? What does it have to do with that? Well, if you believe you don't belong here, then you don't realize that you belong anywhere. Guys, the whole Western Hemisphere is our home. It's our ancestral lands. I know this is foreign to you, but I'm telling you guys, this is the truth that's starting to come out. If 2025 hasn't shown you anything, it should show you that things are being revealed that have been kept in secret for a long time, but the truth is coming out. Okay. And so if you have a different mindset and now you start to believe that you are indigenous, you were the Indians that the cowboys were shooting at, then you understand now that these so-called countries that you want to go to get out of the United States, to get out of the racism, to get out of the microaggressions, to get out of the poor food, to get out of the crazy inflation, to get out of the homes, places to live being unaffordable, to get out of all that mess, to get out of the negativity and the Crips and Bloods, I call them, the Democrats and Republicans, to get away from all that, right? You don't understand that you have the right to get up and move. You've always had that right, okay? Our ancestors moved around for thousands of years. That's why, guys, when you travel to these different places, there's a familiarity. There's a comfort there. It's in your ancestral DNA. I didn't understand this when I would travel around the world. I didn't feel a kinship in Africa. When I went to Ghana, it was cool because all the people there are Black. They're all African, right? And that's a unique experience for us as Black Americans in the United States. But I went to Ghana a couple times. I went to Senegal. I went to Nigeria. I was cool with the people, but I didn't get the feeling that they really believed that we belonged there, that we were of those lands. Yes, we're all African. All the Black people around the world in the diaspora, we are of African descent. But guys, before European people came out of their caves, Black people were all over the world because we're the original people. So we have origins on every piece of this planet. And when you understand that, then when you go to different places, like some of the guys in our group here in Playa del Carmen, they've traveled to Cambodia, Thailand, Philippines. They feel at home, Vietnam, because our ancestral history is in these different regions, these different places. That's why this is so important, okay? This is what sovereignty means, guys. It's not just the freedom to relocate. It's the freedom to recognize that you're indigenous to this hemisphere, right? You have ancestral rights to this land and self-determination. I know this terminology may be different for you, but this is what it is, guys. And I didn't need permission to move down here. I'm a sovereign man. I'm a sovereign indigenous man. So wherever I decide to go and wherever I decide to set up roots, that's what it is. I don't have to ask for permission. I'm gonna keep my U.S. passport because that's part of our reparations. I'm gonna keep that status. I'm gonna keep my investments. I'm gonna keep my money for the most part in the United States because that's our right. That's our indigenous ancestral right. Okay. Now, as a point guard, my job is to see the floor, to call the defenses, and to put my teammates in position to win. Every level that I played basketball, I was a point guard. My dad played college basketball. My older brother played college basketball. My older sister played college basketball. And my dad knew I'm the baby in the family. My dad knew to put the ball in my hands that I had natural leadership abilities. And so when I was the point guard with the legendary Flying Illini team at the University of Illinois, Coach Henson, legendary coach, should be in the Hall of Fame, was smart enough to understand that what he had in me as a leader. So I could call plays on the fly. I didn't have to look to the bench to get the call. If I saw something on the floor, if I saw an advantage for one of my teammates or myself, I would make that play without consulting Coach Henson. So I've been sovereign all my life. My parents raised me to be sovereign. I just didn't know it. I'm coming full circle. So every team that I played on, Detroit Pistons, Dallas Mavericks, San Antonio Spurs, Toshiba Red Thunder in Japan, Fabriano Team Systems in Italy, Juventud Barcelona in Spain, Cocodrilos in Venezuela, all these different places. I was a point guard. I made decisions on the fly. Yes, I talked to we had team meetings and whatnot, and we knew the plays that we wanted to run for various situations. But the coaches found out very quickly that if you put the ball in my hands, I'm going to get you to where you want to be, right? So this is what I want you guys to do. All right. First, I want you to investigate your family history. Go back, and if your relatives are still alive, go back and ask them questions about your background, where your people come from. Because a lot of us originated in the southern portion of the United States, right? And we thought we originated there because of slavery. Slavery is part of it, but we originated in those lands because those are where the indigenous so-called Indian tribes resided. That's where we originated from. Okay, so it's part of slavery is why we come from the South, but a lot more of it has to do with our indigenous history that has been erased from us. Okay, so go investigate your family history, see where your family comes from. Start thinking about relocation differently. And here's what I want you to how I want you to think about relocation differently. Stop saying I want to move abroad. That language keeps you in the wrong frame of mind, in my opinion. Start saying I'm exercising my indigenous rights to movement across ancestral lands. That opens you up a lot more in terms of understanding that you have freedom of movement, right? That you can move around, and this will reframe your identity and your relationship to geography. It's very key that you do this, because what you identify with, your outer world starts to resemble, right? All of our identities are crucial to where we find ourselves today. And if you start to change your identity from a Black man that's an ex-slave to an indigenous sovereign man whose ancestors were enslaved, but our ancestors were here before Europeans showed up. That gives you a whole different mindset and a mind frame that will allow you to view relocation in a much more positive light. Okay. And then 3, I want you to go, if you haven't already, go to my bio. The link is in my bio. Get your global scouting report. What this does is it allows you to understand whether you're a dreamer, meaning that, you just dream about it, but you haven't put any really serious thought to it. You're a planner, where you're starting to really think about this concept and start to get on YouTube and start to do research. You're a packer, meaning that you've already done a lot of research and that you're starting to get in the mindset of, how do I make this happen? Or number 4, you're ready to relocate. You've done the work. You have an idea of some of the countries that you want to go to. You know what your budget's going to look like. You know what your money flow is going to look like, whether you have a pension, whether you have an online course, whether you can work remotely, whether you have investments, all these different things, right? That's what the Global Scouting Report will help you figure out, one of those 4 categories. So that's what I want you guys to do, okay? This is the first in an 8-part series, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. And this is what I want to leave you with. You have sovereignty in your DNA. Your ancestors traveled all over the Western Hemisphere. Why can't you? If the United States is not serving you the way that it needs to, you have options. You have plenty of options around the world, right? Okay, so consider that. Remember that. Do those exercises. And here's what I want you to think about. And I had to write this down so I get this. If you're serious about this and this resonated and you're thinking, Stephen, I need help building this sovereignty, not just thinking about it, I have a country clarity call. It's a $127 call for 60 minutes. I take you through my proprietary system to help you figure out your top 3 countries that match your budget, your visa, your lifestyle, whether you need a Black community there or not, work opportunities, if that's part of your deal. All these different things I walk you through on this call so that you become crystal clear with the top 3 countries that you want to pursue. And you also have a 90-day checklist to get you rolling in terms of what you want to do and where you want to be. So you can book a call with me. I'll help you map out your situation. I'll tell you what's blocking you, and we'll see if the program is right for you. Okay. The link is in the description. Let me put these links up now that we're talking about this. The first one is I want you to hit the link. It's a link tree. So the link is the same, but you'll see the different links attached to the link tree. Get your Global Scouting Report. Okay. That's the first thing. Then consider getting Find Your Country in 72 Hours. This will really help you distill down on the top country that you want to find. And there's a bonus, guys. I just added a private AI relocation assistant to this product. So for $17, you get a 32-page PDF with an assistant. What this assistant does, it's in the package. I give you the prompt and whatever language learning model that you want to use, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, whatever one you want to use, I give you the prompts and the information. All you have to do is copy and paste into the language learning model of your choice, and it will ask you 8 or 9 specific questions. And when you answer them, it will continue to answer those. And it's an interactive way to help you find your country in 72 hours. It's a great product, guys. I'm excited to get feedback from it so you can get that. Okay. And then if you got your Find Your Country in 72 hours and you've gone through the process, you can book a clarity call. Okay. It's in the same link. Go to my bio. You'll see the country clarity call. You can book a call and we can be one-on-one. And I can really get you to where you want to be. So guys, this is the system that's created to help you guys figure out where you want to be and how you want to live out your next chapter. Okay. I want you to like, share, and subscribe this to other brothers that you think this content would be very helpful for. Okay. All right. I think that wraps it up. I think that does it. From your point guard, your championship leader, and your sovereign indigenous man. I'm Stephen Bardo. I'd love to hear from you. Like, share, and subscribe this video. And until next time, holla, y'all.